They've been lying to you about abundance. Every guru, every coach, every spiritual teacher who's told you to heal your scarcity blocks is actually keeping you trapped in the frequency of lack. Right now, as you read these words, you're vibrating at the frequency of, I don't have it. And every moment you spend examining your limitations, analyzing your blocks, and trying to heal your scarcity, you're broadcasting that same signal to the universe. I am someone who lacks. Subscribe now if you're ready to stop healing scarcity and start embodying wealth. The hidden voice has been waiting for you to discover this frequency secret that changes everything forever. Here's what they don't want you to understand. Attention is frequency, and frequency is reality. Whatever you focus on expands. When you focus on healing scarcity, you're focusing on scarcity. When you examine your money blocks, you're giving energy to blockage. When you work on your abundance issues, you're identifying as someone who has abundance issues. You're not healing your way to wealth, you're reinforcing your way deeper into lack. The secret they've been hiding is brutally simple. Ignore the problem completely. Stop trying to heal, fix, or transform your scarcity consciousness. Instead, do this. Embody the frequency of, I already have it, regardless of your current reality, and watch your external world rearrange itself to match your internal signal. Part 1. Why healing scarcity keeps you poor. The abundance industry has built a trillion-dollar empire on a fundamental lie, that you must heal your scarcity before you can experience abundance. They've convinced you that your limitations are precious wounds that need careful attention, that your blocks are important stories that need to be processed, that your financial trauma requires years of therapy and deep spiritual work before you can be ready for wealth. This is the most sophisticated trap ever created because it feels so reasonable, so responsible, so spiritually mature. Of course you should examine your limiting beliefs. Of course you should heal your money trauma. Of course you should understand why you sabotage your success. It makes perfect logical sense, and it's exactly why it keeps you trapped. Every time you meditate on your scarcity, you're meditating as someone who has scarcity. Every time you journal about your blocks, you're journaling from the identity of someone who is blocked. Every time you do inner work on your limitations, you're doing that work as someone who is limited. The very act of healing scarcity requires you to identify as someone who has scarcity to heal. But consciousness doesn't work like physical medicine. You can't remove a tumor of limitation and then suddenly be free to experience abundance. Consciousness is frequency, and frequency is determined by what you're attuned to in this moment. When you attune to your problems, you become a radio station broadcasting problems. When you attune to your lacks, you become a magnet for more lack. When you examine your scarcity, you strengthen your scarcity. The cruel irony is that the more consciously you try to heal your scarcity, the more consciously you reinforce it. The person who spends years in therapy processing their money trauma is still operating from the identity of someone with money trauma. The person who attends every abundance workshop is still operating from the identity of someone who needs to learn abundance. The person who does daily work on their limiting beliefs is still operating from the identity of someone with limiting beliefs. This is why people can spend decades in personal development, thousands of dollars on coaches, hundreds of hours in meditation, and still struggle with the same financial limitations they started with. They're not healing their way to abundance, they're healing their way deeper into the identity of someone who needs healing. They're not transforming their scarcity, they're becoming professional managers of their scarcity. The healing paradigm is seductive because it gives you something to do, something to work on, something to improve. It makes you feel productive about your limitations. But here's the truth they don't want you to see. You don't have a scarcity problem to solve. You have a frequency problem to shift. And you can't shift frequency by examining the frequency you want to leave. You can only shift frequency by embodying the frequency you want to experience. Think about this. Have you ever noticed that people who are naturally wealthy don't spend time healing their abundance blocks? They don't attend money mindset workshops. They don't journal about their relationship with wealth. They don't do inner work on their prosperity consciousness. They simply operate from the frequency of abundance as their natural state, and reality reflects that frequency back to them. The wealthy don't think about money problems, they think about money solutions. They don't focus on their financial limitations, they focus on their financial possibilities. They don't identify as people working on abundance, they identify as people who have abundance. Their frequency is set to, I already have it, and their reality matches that frequency. But the moment you start trying to heal your way to wealth, you've stepped outside that natural frequency and into the frequency of, I'm someone who doesn't have wealth but is working on getting it. And the universe responds to what you are, not what you're working toward. It responds to your current frequency, not your future goals. The healing paradigm also keeps you busy with your problems instead of available for your solutions. While you're spending time and energy examining your blocks, you're not available to notice opportunities. While you're processing your trauma, you're not present to receive abundance. While you're working on yourself, you're not working on your wealth. The healing keeps you focused inward on your limitations instead of outward on your possibilities. Here's what really changes everything. The moment you stop trying to heal your scarcity and start embodying abundance, your frequency shifts immediately. Not eventually, not gradually, not after you've done enough work, immediately. Because consciousness is not a progressive healing process. Consciousness is a present moment choice of what frequency to embody right now. This doesn't mean pretending you're wealthy when you're not. This doesn't mean denying your current reality. This means choosing to operate from the frequency of wealth regardless of your current circumstances, allowing that frequency to reorganize your circumstances rather than waiting for different circumstances to justify a different frequency. The people who create massive wealth quickly don't heal their way to abundance, they frequency shift their way to abundance. They stop identifying as people with money problems and start identifying as people with money solutions. They stop focusing on what they lack and start focusing on what they're creating. They stop trying to heal their scarcity and start embodying their wealth. And their reality shifts to match their new frequency faster than any healing process could ever achieve. Part 2. The frequency of I already have it. Everything in existence vibrates at a specific frequency, including your relationship with money. Right now, you're broadcasting one of two primary financial frequencies, I don't have it, or I already have it. These aren't just thoughts or beliefs, they're energetic signatures that the quantum field reads and responds to with mathematical precision. The frequency of I don't have it includes every vibration of seeking, wanting, needing, lacking, hoping, wishing, trying, and working toward. When you're in this frequency, you're constantly aware of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You think about money often because you don't have enough of it. You strategize about abundance because it's not your current reality. You affirm prosperity because you don't feel prosperous. You visualize wealth because you don't see wealth in your life. The frequency of I already have it is completely different. It's the vibration of someone who has what they have, needs what they need, and experiences what they experience. People operating from this frequency don't think about money constantly because they have money. They don't seek abundance because they are abundant. They don't try to manifest wealth because they are wealthy. Their attention is free to focus on creation, service, and enjoyment rather than acquisition, healing, and improvement. Here's the key insight that changes everything. The universe doesn't respond to your bank account balance. It responds to your frequency. A person with $100 operating from the frequency of I already have it will attract more wealth faster than a person with $10,000 operating from the frequency of I don't have enough. The external numbers are just results of the internal frequency, not the cause of it. When you embody the frequency of I already have it, several miraculous things happen simultaneously. Your nervous system relaxes because there's nothing to chase, nothing to fix, nothing to heal. Your mind becomes available for creative solutions rather than being occupied with problems. Your energy becomes magnetic rather than desperate. Your actions become inspired rather than effortful. Your entire being aligns with reception rather than resistance. But here's where most people get confused. They think embodying, I already have it, means pretending to have money you don't have, spending money you don't possess, or lying to yourself about your circumstances. That's not frequency embodiment, that's delusion, and the universe can tell the difference immediately. True frequency embodiment means adopting the internal experience of someone who has what they need, regardless of external circumstances. It means feeling secure without specific amounts in your account. It means feeling abundant without particular possessions. It means feeling prosperous without external validation. It's an internal stance of completeness that doesn't depend on external conditions. Think about how you feel when you have enough money for something you want. There's a relaxation, a confidence, a sense of, I can handle this. You don't think anxiously about the purchase. You don't strategize about how to afford it. You don't hope the universe will provide. You simply decide what you want and take action from a place of having the resources. That feeling, that internal experience, is the frequency of I already have it. Now imagine extending that same feeling to everything in your financial life. Not because you have unlimited money, but because you operate from the internal experience of someone who has what they need when they need it. Not because your bank account is full, but because your frequency is full. Not because all your desires are manifested, but because your relationship with desire comes from fullness rather than emptiness. The frequency of I already have it also changes how you perceive and receive opportunities. When you're vibrating at I don't have it, opportunities look like solutions to your problems, which creates desperate, grasping energy that repels the very opportunities you're trying to attract. When you're vibrating at I already have it, opportunities look like natural next steps in your already abundant life, which creates magnetic, attractive energy that draws opportunities effortlessly. People operating from I already have it make different choices. They choose quality over quantity because they're not afraid of scarcity. They invest in growth rather than hoarding resources because they trust in continuous flow. They share generously because they operate from overflow rather than protection. They take strategic risks because they know they can create wealth rather than believing wealth is limited. The frequency also affects how others respond to you. Desperate energy repels people, especially people with resources. Abundant energy attracts people, especially people who can help expand your abundance. When you operate from I already have it, you become someone others want to do business with, partner with, and support, because your energy feels prosperous rather than needy. But the most profound shift happens in your relationship with time. People vibrating at I don't have it are constantly waiting for abundance to arrive. They live in the future tense of wealth, always preparing for prosperity but never experiencing it. People vibrating at I already have it experience abundance in present tense. They're wealthy now, in whatever form their current wealth takes. They're abundant now, with whatever resources they currently possess. They're prosperous now, in their current experience of life. This present tense relationship with wealth allows the future to unfold from abundance rather than toward abundance. Instead of trying to get from scarcity to prosperity, you're expanding from prosperity to greater prosperity. Instead of climbing from lack to abundance, you're growing from abundance to more abundance. The starting point changes everything about the journey and the destination. Part 3. The Daily Embodiment Protocol, Changing Your Frequency Forever. This is where theory becomes transformation. The protocol I'm about to share has consistently produced radical financial shifts for people who commit to it completely. It requires no healing, no processing, no examination of blocks. It requires only one thing: the willingness to embody a frequency that doesn't match your current circumstances. Until your circumstances match your frequency. Morning frequency installation, 10 minutes. Before you check your phone, before you look at your bank account, before you engage with any external reality, you install your frequency for the day. Sit comfortably with your eyes closed and take 3 deep breaths. Now feel into your body as if you already have everything you need financially. Don't think about having it. Feel it. How does your chest feel when you have enough money for everything you want? How do your shoulders sit when you're not worried about finances? How does your breathing flow when you're financially secure? How does your face relax when money isn't a concern? Spend full minutes embodying this internal experience, anchoring it in your nervous system before you encounter any external reality. The key is specificity without attachment to specific amounts. Feel the security of having enough for your rent without needing to know the exact number in your account. Feel the freedom of being able to buy what you want without needing to own particular things. Feel the peace of financial stability without needing to define what stability looks like. You're installing the frequency, not the form. The already have it response pattern throughout your day, every time you encounter anything related to money, bills, prices, opportunities, expenses, you respond from the frequency of, I already have it. This doesn't mean you behave recklessly or spend money you don't have. It means your internal response to financial stimuli comes from abundance rather than scarcity. When you see a bill, instead of anxiety, you feel the calm confidence of someone who pays bills easily. When you see something you want to buy, instead of, I can't afford this, you feel the internal experience of someone choosing whether or not they want to make this purchase. When you see an expensive item, instead of, that's so expensive, you feel the neutrality of someone for whom money isn't emotionally charged. This response pattern reprograms your nervous system in real time. Every financial interaction becomes an opportunity to strengthen your, I already have it, frequency instead of reinforcing your, I don't have it, pattern. Within weeks, your default response to money shifts from scarcity-based reactions to abundance-based responses. The wealthy decision-making practice at least 3 times each day. Make a decision from the frequency of, I already have it. This could be choosing the higher quality option when you shop, selecting the better restaurant when you eat out, buying the premium version instead of the basic version, or investing in something that supports your growth rather than just managing your limitation. These decisions don't need to be expensive, they need to be aligned with how someone who already has it would choose. Someone operating from abundance chooses based on value, quality, and alignment rather than just price. They invest in experiences and growth rather than just survival and maintenance. They select options that expand their life rather than just maintaining their current circumstances. The practice rewires your decision-making patterns from scarcity logic to abundance logic. Over time, your choices automatically align with wealth consciousness, and wealth consciousness inevitably produces wealthy results. The present tense wealth appreciation each evening. Spend 5 minutes appreciating the wealth that already exists in your life, exactly as it is right now. Not the wealth you wish you had, not the wealth you're working toward, but the actual abundance that's present in your current reality. Appreciate the money you do have, even if it's not as much as you want. Appreciate the roof over your head, even if it's not your dream home. Appreciate the food in your refrigerator, even if it's simple. Appreciate your ability to earn money, even if you're earning less than you'd prefer. Appreciate the abundance of opportunities available to you, even if you haven't taken advantage of them yet. This practice anchors the frequency of, I already have it, in present moment reality rather than future possibility. You're not pretending to have more than you have, you're recognizing the abundance that actually exists now. This present moment acknowledgement of existing wealth expands your capacity to recognize and receive additional wealth. The frequency maintenance protocol, your old scarcity frequency will attempt to reassert itself, especially when you encounter financial challenges, unexpected expenses, or moments of doubt. When this happens, use the frequency maintenance protocol. Stop, breathe, embody. Stop whatever anxious thinking or stressful behavior you're engaged in. Breathe deeply 3 times while consciously releasing the scarcity frequency. Embody the, I already have it, frequency by feeling in your body how someone who has everything they need would handle this exact situation. Then take action from that frequency rather than from the old scarcity pattern. The key is catching the frequency shift early, before it builds momentum. The moment you notice scarcity thoughts, scarcity emotions, or scarcity behaviors, you immediately return to abundance frequency through conscious embodiment. Over time, abundance frequency becomes your default setting rather than something you have to consciously choose. The amplification practice once weekly. Do something that amplifies your, I already have it, frequency beyond your comfort zone. This could be eating at a restaurant that feels slightly expensive for you, buying something high quality that you normally wouldn't purchase, giving a generous tip that feels abundant, or making an investment in yourself that stretches your normal spending. The amplification practice expands your comfort zone with wealth and prosperity. It teaches your nervous system that you can handle higher levels of financial flow without anxiety or regression. Each amplification experience raises your wealth thermostat and increases your capacity to embody and maintain greater abundance. The integration commitment, the protocol, only works if you commit to it completely for at least 90 days. Partial commitment produces partial results. The frequency of "I already have it" must become your dominant vibration, not just something you practice occasionally. This means choosing this frequency consistently, especially when it feels difficult, unrealistic, or challenging. Track your frequency embodiment daily. Notice how your external reality begins shifting to match your internal frequency. Document opportunities that arise, money that flows in, circumstances that improve, and relationships that become more supportive. The evidence builds over time, reinforcing your commitment to the new frequency. Most importantly, refuse to return to the healing paradigm. When challenges arise, don't ask, "What scarcity block is creating this?" Instead ask, "How would someone who already has it handle this situation?" When problems appear, don't seek to heal your way through them. Embody your way through them from the frequency of someone who has the resources to solve any problem that arises. Part 4. Living as someone who already has it. 3 months into the embodiment protocol, everything shifts. You're no longer someone trying to heal their way to abundance. You're someone living from abundance itself. The frequency of "I already have it" has become your natural vibration, and reality has begun reorganizing to match. But the real transformation isn't in your bank account, though that's changing too. The real transformation is in your relationship with existence itself. The calm confidence revolution. The most immediate change is the profound calm that settles into your nervous system. The constant background anxiety about money, that low-level stress you didn't even realize you were carrying, simply dissolves. You stop checking your account balance compulsively because you trust it will reflect your frequency. You stop calculating and recalculating expenses because you operate from sufficiency rather than scarcity. You stop worrying about financial disasters because you embody the frequency of someone who handles whatever arises. This calm confidence shows up in subtle but powerful ways. Your voice changes when discussing money, no longer defensive or apologetic, but matter-of-fact and assured. Your body language shifts when opportunities arise, no longer grasping or desperate, but receptive and selective. Your decision-making improves because you're not choosing from fear of lack, but from alignment with value and quality. People notice this energetic shift immediately, even if they can't articulate what's different about you. You become someone others want to do business with, collaborate with, and support, because your energy feels abundant rather than needy. Opportunities begin flowing toward you because you're vibrating at the frequency that attracts opportunities rather than repels them. The opportunity magnetism with your frequency permanently shifted to "I already have it." You begin noticing possibilities that were always present but filtered out by your previous scarcity programming. It's not that new opportunities are being created, it's that your perception has been freed from the limitations that made you unconsciously blind to abundance that was already available. These opportunities don't feel random or lucky, they feel natural and inevitable. When you embody the frequency of wealth, wealth-creating possibilities become visible and accessible. When you vibrate at abundance, abundant options appear logical and attainable. When you operate from "I already have it," having more becomes a natural extension of what you already are rather than a dramatic change you're hoping to achieve. The magnetism extends beyond just earning opportunities. Investment possibilities that seemed too risky or too large now appear reasonable and manageable. Business partnerships that would have felt overwhelming now seem like natural next steps. Financial strategies that once seemed reserved for rich people now feel accessible and appropriate for someone like you, because you're no longer someone unlike wealthy people. You're operating from the same frequency they've always operated from. The effortless action. Perhaps the most remarkable shift is how effortless wealth-building activities become when you're operating from "I already have it" frequency. Actions that used to require willpower, motivation, and enormous effort now feel natural and obvious. You're not forcing yourself to take steps toward abundance. You're naturally taking actions that someone who has abundance would take. Networking feels like connecting with peers rather than seeking help from superiors. Negotiating feels like ensuring mutual benefit rather than fighting for survival. Investing feels like managing resources rather than risking security. Creating value feels like expressing your natural gifts rather than proving your worth. Every wealth-building activity aligns with your frequency instead of conflicting with it. The effort required to maintain wealthy behaviors drops to nearly zero because those behaviors now match your internal identity. You're not trying to act like a wealthy person, you are someone who has wealth, acting naturally. The gap between who you are and what you do closes completely, creating perfect alignment between frequency and action. The generosity flow, one of the most beautiful aspects of living from "I already have it," is how natural generosity becomes. When you operate from overflow rather than scarcity, sharing feels good rather than threatening. You tip well because you appreciate service, not to prove anything. You give gifts because you enjoy the joy it creates, not out of obligation. You support causes because you care about the results, not to earn spiritual points. This generosity isn't strategic or calculated, it flows naturally from your abundant frequency. And because the universe operates on the principle of circulation, your generous flow accelerates your wealth accumulation rather than depleting it. Money moves through you rather than stagnating with you, creating dynamic flow that brings more money into your experience. Others feel your generous spirit and respond by being generous with you in return. Opportunities, connections, information, and resources flow toward you because you've become someone who creates abundance for others rather than someone who competes for limited resources. Your success lifts everyone around you rather than threatening them. The compound expansion with your frequency permanently installed, you experience something most people never access. The compound effect of sustained abundance consciousness. Instead of constantly returning to scarcity and rebuilding, your wealth consciousness builds upon itself. Each success reinforces your frequency rather than creating fear about losing what you've gained. Your knowledge compounds as you naturally seek information that someone who already has it would find valuable. Your network compounds as you connect with others operating at similar frequencies. Your opportunities compound as success creates visibility that attracts more success. Your confidence compounds as consistent results provide evidence that your frequency shift is permanent and sustainable. This compound effect accelerates over time. Year 1 produces noticeable shifts. Year 2 produces undeniable transformation. Year 3 produces results that seem miraculous to others but feel natural to you. By year 5, you can't remember what it felt like to operate from scarcity frequency because abundance has become your permanent reality. The teaching transmission as your "I already have it" frequency becomes unshakable, you naturally become a transmission point for others ready to make the same shift. You don't have to preach or teach formally. Your presence itself demonstrates what becomes possible when someone stops trying to heal their way to wealth and starts embodying their way to abundance. People begin asking you what's different, what you've changed, how you've achieved such transformation. Your answer is simple. I stopped trying to heal my scarcity and started embodying my abundance. I stopped focusing on what I lacked and started living from what I have. I stopped working on my money blocks and started being someone who has money. Your transformation becomes permission for others to attempt their own frequency shift. Your success provides evidence that the embodiment protocol works. Your presence offers a different possibility than the healing paradigm that keeps most people trapped in the identity of someone who needs fixing. The ultimate freedom, the deepest gift of permanent frequency transformation, is complete freedom from the money drama that consumes most people's mental and emotional energy. You're not anxiously monitoring markets, desperately seeking opportunities, or constantly worried about financial security. You're not trying to heal money trauma, overcome abundance blocks, or fix your relationship with wealth. Your attention is free to focus on what truly matters: your purpose, your relationships, your creativity, your service to the world. Money becomes a neutral tool that supports your life rather than a source of stress that complicates your life. Wealth becomes a natural result of who you are rather than something you have to work to achieve. This freedom allows you to make choices based on alignment rather than financial pressure. You can choose work that fulfills you rather than just work that pays bills. You can invest in relationships that enrich you rather than just relationships that might benefit you financially. You can pursue purposes that inspire you rather than just activities that generate income. Living as someone who already has it isn't about having unlimited money. It's about having unlimited freedom from money anxiety, unlimited confidence in your ability to create what you need, and unlimited trust in the abundance that flows through your life when you align with the frequency of prosperity rather than the frequency of scarcity. Part 5. The Permanent Frequency Lock and Transmission. This is the moment of permanent transformation. You've stopped trying to heal your scarcity. You've embodied the frequency of "I already have it" until it became your natural vibration. You've experienced reality shifting to match your internal frequency. Now we lock this transformation so completely that returning to scarcity consciousness becomes impossible, and you become a transmission point for others ready to make the same quantum leap. The identity integration ceremony stands in a space where you feel your own power. This ceremony marks your permanent graduation from someone who needs healing to someone who embodies wealth. You are no longer seeking abundance. You are abundance expressing itself in human form. You are no longer working on prosperity. You are prosperity working through you. You are no longer trying to become wealthy. You are wealth itself, creating more of itself through your life. Place both hands over your heart and feel the truth of who you've become. You are someone who has what you need when you need it. You are someone whose internal abundance creates external abundance. You are someone whose frequency of prosperity magnetizes prosperity in all its forms. You are no longer separate from wealth. You are wealth in motion. The Permanent Frequency Declaration speak these words with complete conviction, feeling their truth in every cell of your being. I permanently release all need to heal, fix, or transform my scarcity consciousness. The frequency of lack no longer exists in my field. I embody the frequency of "I already have it" as my natural, effortless state of being. I am not someone seeking wealth. I am someone expressing wealth. I am not someone working toward abundance. I am abundance working through me. I am not someone healing my way to prosperity. I am prosperity itself, creating and expanding through my choices, actions, and presence. My frequency of wealth is permanent, unshakable, and infinitely expanding. Reality organizes itself around my abundance consciousness because abundance consciousness is my authentic nature. Money flows to me because I am the frequency that money flows to. This transformation is complete, irreversible, and eternal. I lock this frequency into my being forever. The transmission activation. Your permanent frequency shift creates ripples throughout the collective consciousness around money. Every person who stops trying to heal their way to wealth and starts embodying their abundance makes it easier for others to do the same. Your frequency becomes a tuning fork that others can align with when they're ready to abandon the healing paradigm and embrace the embodiment protocol. Feel yourself becoming a transmission point for abundance consciousness. Your presence in any room raises the frequency of everyone present. Your conversations naturally inspire others to examine their own relationship with wealth. Your success demonstrates that rapid transformation is possible through frequency embodiment rather than gradual healing. Commit to being conscious of your transmission effect. When others notice your transformed relationship with money, share the truth. You stopped trying to heal your scarcity and started embodying your abundance. When people ask about your secret, tell them, there is no secret except choosing to live from "I already have it" regardless of current circumstances. The expansion commitment. Make this vow to your future self and to the abundance that flows through you. I commit to continuous expansion of my wealth frequency without limits, conditions, or apologies. I will embody greater levels of abundance as they become available to me, never contracting back to scarcity consciousness no matter what challenges arise. I commit to using my wealth to create more wealth for myself and others. I will invest in opportunities, people, and purposes that multiply abundance rather than hoarding resources out of old scarcity programming. I commit to being an example of what becomes possible when someone permanently shifts from healing scarcity to embodying abundance. I will inspire others through my transformation rather than hiding my success out of false modesty or fear of judgment. I commit to never returning to the healing paradigm. I will handle all challenges from the frequency of someone who already has everything they need to create solutions, rather than someone who needs to heal their way through problems. The future self-integration. Close your eyes and connect with your future self 5 years from now, living completely from abundance frequency. See how differently you move through the world when wealth consciousness is so natural you can't remember ever being any other way. Notice how effortless your financial life has become, how naturally opportunities flow to you, how automatically you make choices that increase rather than decrease your prosperity. Feel the profound peace that comes from never again worrying about money, never again doubting your ability to create what you need, never again operating from scarcity consciousness. Observe how your presence affects others, how your calm confidence around wealth gives them permission to examine their own limitations, how your success inspires them to attempt their own frequency transformation. See yourself as a transmission point for abundance consciousness, naturally attracting others who are ready to stop healing their scarcity and start embodying their wealth. Your transformation becomes a beacon of possibility, proof that anyone can shift from lack to abundance through frequency embodiment rather than endless healing work. The Guardian Protocols. Install these permanent Guardian Protocols to protect your transformation from any attempt to return to scarcity consciousness. Daily frequency check. Each morning, ensure you're operating from "I already have it" rather than "I'm working on having it." If you notice any return to seeking, needing, or healing energy, immediately re-embody your abundance frequency. Challenge Response Protocol. When financial challenges arise, your automatic response is, "I am someone who already has everything needed to handle this situation." Then, act from that identity rather than from old scarcity patterns. Healing Temptation Immunity. If anyone suggests you need to heal your money blocks or work on your abundance issues, recognize this as scarcity consciousness trying to reclaim you. Politely decline all healing-based approaches to wealth. Expansion Requirement. Whenever your current level of abundance feels completely comfortable and natural, stretch to embody the next level. Growth requires continuous expansion of your frequency, not healing of your limitations. Closing declaration for the community. If you have permanently shifted from healing your scarcity to embodying your abundance, write this declaration in the comments. I embody the frequency of "I already have it." My wealth consciousness is permanent and continuously expanding. I have stopped trying to heal my way to abundance. Let your words anchor this transformation in the collective field and inspire others to abandon the healing paradigm for the embodiment protocol. The ultimate truth. The healing paradigm has kept you trapped in the frequency of lack disguised as the path to abundance. Every moment you spend examining your blocks, processing your trauma, and working on your limitations reinforces your identity as someone who lacks, who is broken, who needs fixing. The frequency of "I already have it" is available to you right now, regardless of your bank account, regardless of your history, regardless of your circumstances. Wealth is not something you heal your way toward, it's something you embody your way into. Stop trying to heal your scarcity. Start embodying your abundance. Change your frequency forever by becoming the vibration of wealth itself, and watch as reality rearranges to match who you've become. Your abundant life isn't waiting for you to be healed. It's waiting for you to embody the truth that you already are everything you need to be.